Shut up and sit down.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Midnight Showing. I'm Dan Connors and I have Chelsey back here with me.
Hey guys!
And this episode we just got back from seeing Aladdin, the newest Disney remake, out of, 3 so far, I think?
Yeah, give or take. Depends on how many you want to actually count.
Yeah, and then Lion King's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me start out with the Genie, because the Genie was the biggest kind of controversy going into the remake movie. What did you think about Will Smith as Genie?
Ooh, okay, so are we basing it off, like, the trailers first and then actually seeing the movie?
Well, whatever you feel. Like, what did you just think about Will Smith as Genie? Like, leading up to it, after seeing it, whatever. What did you think?
Leading up to it, I was like, it's gonna be Will Smith trying to play the Genie, but his just Will Smith personality. Like, I think of him from, like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I thought of that personality popping out because the Genie's a very, like, comedic, like, sense of humor and just is the lighthearted part of the whole movie. That and Abu the monkey. First seeing him on screen, I was really confused. But they tied in a completely different storyline to the Genie, which I actually kind of liked, like, the further we went into the movie. Just because, like, the Genie's role played by the original voice actor, Robin Williams, you know, he's legendary for that role, and I felt like a lot of people, including myself, were kind of skeptical on how, like, you're gonna play this epic role, you know, other than him. But I actually thought he did an okay job at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, what did you... Because everybody all over the place was just pissed off that Will Smith was Genie and the recasting Genie, all this stuff. So, like, what did you just actually think about him in the role?
He was better than what I thought.
Yeah, he was fine. Like, people were getting so tossed up about it for no reason. And it's just like, he's gonna be fine. They're not gonna let something trashy slide. Disney won't just let, like, a bad performance come out in one of these remakes.
Yeah, but I also was slightly worried about them modernizing Aladdin. And when I saw it was Will Smith, I was really afraid that it was going to be too pop-like.
Well, yeah, you could definitely hear his, like, hip-hop come out. Like, just in his like, swagger on screen. Like, he was very kind of, like laid back, like, swagger type deal. And then also in the music. Like, you could definitely hear the hip-hop come out in his, like, in his remixes of the songs.
Yeah, it wasn't as, like, classical type music from the original. But I mean, like, if you've never seen Aladdin, like, if you're, like, a 10-year-old kid nowadays going in and seeing it, I feel like you would love the Genie. Like,
Yeah.
you would want Will Smith to be the
Because the kids
Genie.
those age don't know Robin Williams.
Yeah.
And they barely know Will Smith, but...
Yeah. But I feel like if I was younger, I think I would love the movie even more. But I grew up seeing the 1992 Aladdin.
Is that when it came out?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I know. I'm pretty sure it was 1992. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
Wait, so Aladdin was before Lion King? Because Lion King was like 96 or something, wasn't it?
I think it was 94.
Oh.
94, 95. But yeah.
Yeah, it's just people get too heated about this stuff. It's just like, it's gonna be fine. The movie itself was fine. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen the original Aladdin, but I know most about it. I just haven't actually sat down and watched the whole thing. But, like, it was fine. I don't see how people would get so pissed off about, like, I don't know. I don't believe that the general public should get upset about stuff like this, where, you know, people always get upset. It's like, Disney shouldn't be remaking this stuff. It's like, offensive to like Robin Williams' like honor and stuff to remake this character. It's like, I don't agree with that sentiment where it's like, yeah, he obviously did a great job of it, but it's not like him. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't. It wasn't his intellectual property that he made and then they stole and like remade or something. Like, it's Disney's. They're allowed to just, change it. Nobody gets pissed off when, like, well, I guess I was gonna say nobody gets pissed off when Batman changes, but that's literally happening right now. Everyone's getting upset about the new casting, but like, it's just revamps and remakes and recasts. They happen all the time. It's just like, get used to it. It's gonna be fine, and there's always gonna be a new audience that is gonna enjoy one over the other. It's just like, It's not fair to get upset about it. It's a studio. They're doing what they need to do. It's not Robin Williams'. Yes, I love him too. Like, don't yell at me that, like, oh, I'm disrespecting him too. He was great, and I loved him in every movie he was in. But like, I just don't think it's right to get upset for, especially at Will Smith. Like, people get upset at him for taking this role, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
come on, like, he's gonna be great. He's Will Smith. He's doing fine in everything, and he's gonna bring that charisma like to the screen. And he was one of the best parts of the movie. But I don't know. I just don't think it's fair to like hate on like the studio and Disney and especially Will Smith for like doing this. I just they're allowed to do it, and it's going to be good either way.
Going back, I agree with you on all of that. Going back to him being one of the best characters, I agree with that as well. I think the Genie and Jasmine were by far my favorite characters.
Yeah, Jasmine was number one by far.
Oh, yes.
It felt like more of her movie than Aladdin's.
Oh, it really did. And I don't even know if they meant to make it
They probably
that
did.
way. I mean, maybe they did with, like, young female empowerment. And I loved it. It was amazing. And yes, they did change here and there a few, like, spots of the storyline. But
yeah, they gave her a self-power song or something.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. Beautiful. But overall, the actual plot, like, still felt true to the original. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just felt like her movie, like, to me. Like, after coming out of it, I was just like, yeah, Aladdin was great, and the actor that portrayed him, he was fine. I mean, he wasn't incredible. That's the other thing, is like, most of these performances were just like fine, and then Naomi Scott's Jasmine was like a bit higher. Well, she was definitely higher than everybody else, but like everybody else, it was just kind of okay. It was kind of one good way to explain it is they're all like average performances. Even Will Smith, like Genie, Aladdin, all that stuff, they were all pretty average. Naomi Scott's Jasmine was tippy top, and then by far the worst one was Jafar's.
Oh my gosh. Why did Jafar look hotter than Aladdin? Like, I'm not kidding. Like,
Is he?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't think either of them are, but I definitely don't.
Jafar, the original one, is like this creepy, bony, like, gross looking guy.
Well, yeah, he was by far the worst. I just had no interest in him, and he was just kind of like he seemed weak and like kind of whiny all the time.
I mean, I think he did seem more whiny than the original. The original one, I remember him being more cunning.
He seemed more like actually power hungry. This guy just seemed like upset to be number two. They literally made fun of him being number two the whole time. So it felt like he was getting bullied instead of being power hungry.
Yeah. And just the fact that he looked just as attractive as Aladdin.
Well, they looked the same age, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They looked the same age. And Jafar is supposed to be, like, the age of the Sultan. But he just looks so close in age to Aladdin that was very confusing. And, like, I think he was just too hot of a character. I think he needed to be more ugly. Honest.
Well, and he wasn't even intimidating. That's the other thing. If he looked like that, like young or whatever, but he was still just like a really good actor and intimidating, I'd buy it more. But he didn't even come off as intimidating. Like I said, he just seemed kind of like annoyed that he was number two, and he was just using magic to like fix it or something.
And his voice too. His voice was kind of off for like someone that I would cast. I would want more of like a raspy
Yeah, it was
voice
very
like
smooth.
Jafar. Yeah. But it wasn't too smooth and like where he's like deceiving, you know, because that's the whole point of his staff.
Yeah.
It was mind compulsion. I don't know. I was just really confused as to why he got the role. But I do have to say, we didn't see many hints as to the parrot that he has in the trailers. So I was very curious to see what they were going to do with his pet parrot. And I actually really liked that the parrot didn't actually like talk.
I heard some people didn't like that. I heard some people were annoyed that he was even in it if they were just not going to do much with him. Like, it was like two spectrums. They either were saying have him fully talk like in the movie or have him not even be in the movie. Which I thought, like you said, I thought it made the most sense to be, it's a parrot. Like, he's going to know some words and like be able to formulate a sentence or something. But they obviously tipped it up a little more than a normal parrot just for the comedic like humor for it. But I don't know. Like, I was fine with it.
Well, like, the whole point of the parrot being there is so that Jafar can deliver a lot of his dialogue. Because he's, like, thinking and talking out loud. And, like, that's the whole point of the parrot there is so that, you know, you don't see some crazy person just, like, talking to themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I was fine with it. With, like, how little he talked.
Yeah.
I saw some that were saying, like, he just kind of said the obvious. Like, when
That's
something
what
was...
the bird did in the first place.
Yeah,
I mean, the bird was more, like whiny and stuff. Like, I think the bird in the original, the parrot in the original one, was more whiny, but I think they kind of converted the whiny bird part into Jafar in the new movie.
Yeah, I was fine with it. I just saw some people were upset by it. Not upset, but, like, just annoyed that it was even, like, there, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I don't know, I thought it was done tastefully, in my opinion. And even, like, the genie turning Aladdin into the prince. Like, the way he did that was very similar to the original one. And, like, even the use of Abu seemed very, like, realistic as well.
Yeah, they kept it very, like, he was obviously just trained to steal, but they made him more, like, monkey-like kind of thing. He wasn't too humanoid, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't just seem to have, like, a brain of his own and, like, go and do all this stuff.
Yeah, I think that the way they used the animals in this movie were done very tastefully.
Well, same with the tiger.
Yeah.
Like, the tiger in the original, I know, was, like, really humanoid. Like, it's got, like, emotions, and it's, like, you know,
The tiger in the original one has more of a dog-like personality than an actual cat
because the
personality.
tiger was hardly in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really only to show that, like, it accepted Aladdin. Because it happened twice where it, like, actually kind of just, like, it didn't pounce on him or something. It just kind of sniffed at him. And there was, like, the reaction shots of Jasmine, like, being like, oh, he actually, I don't know if it's a he, but, like, he actually kind of, like, likes you kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, the tiger, I don't remember its name, but the tiger is kind of used to ward off, like, all these princes that are coming and trying to wed Jasmine.
Yeah.
And I felt like they didn't make him too protective or, like, not protective enough. Like, again, I think it was very well used. Oh, but I can't help but compare it to Beauty and the Beast because that's the last Disney princess remake they made. It's really hard for me to decide whether I liked Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin better. Like, as far as, like, new Disney princesses go, like, I feel like they were equally, like, as powerful and brought very strong messages.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. They're both hardly memorable to me. Like, we just saw this one, and I can hardly remember any of it.
What did you think of the Handmaiden?
She was fine. I mean, she wasn't in the original, right?
No, she wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, it was just more comedic humor. They had to stretch the plot out for a longer screen time, and they probably just did it to make Genie more humanoid and, like, have Genie have more of a storyline than just wanting to not be a genie kind of thing.
Yeah,
so it was like he had to, like, really be a friend to Aladdin, and he had, like, another reason is that he met this girl, which the opening was really weird.
It was way too short and, like, just kind of, like, where is this coming
It
from?
was just confusing because you obviously know Will Smith's the genie, and so it was just like, wait, what is this like a genie origin story? Like I thought maybe it was gonna be like he was a human that got enchanted. I mean, sort of like Jafar in the end, but like I thought it was gonna be like a pre thing,
That's what I was thinking
but it ended
too.
up being after. So it was just weird. But like it was just to give him more of like a storyline to it. They had to draw out the runtime and make it a little more. They had to give Will Smith more of a thing than just being genie, you know.
But yeah, I think it was done so that he wouldn't be straight up compared to Robin Williams.
Well, and it's just more like funny banter because you also had the funny banter between Jasmine and her, and like her and Genie. So it kind of just gave an extra character for people to bounce off of, and she did a good job portraying it. Like I don't know who she is, but she had good like comedic timing and like physical humor,
Oh
like with
yeah.
her expressions.
Oh yeah, the constant like door opening and closing part.
Yeah, and I mean that's just relatable. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's
they
what
liked
girls
each
do.
other, and it's just like give me a second, and then like she keeps glancing over at Jasmine, like you know, it's just relatable like girl humor that they added for Jasmine, and it made Jasmine more human, not just like a human and relatable, not just a like a princess, and that's it. Like it made her more like almost like you know having those teen type feelings. You know, everyone goes through those like high school phases. It gave her kind of more of that essence as like I've been trapped in a. It's kind of like Frozen Elsa kind of thing. Like she's been trapped in this castle and she just wants to like be normal. You know, so it gave her kind of like a high school friend type humor to like be normal with.
Yeah.
So it was a good addition. I was totally fine with it.
Also, the costumes in this were beautiful.
Yeah, so that's the best part. The best part was the visual. Was definitely like costume design.
It was amazing. I was blown away.
Yeah, it was by far the best part, especially because like for one, just being pure costume design was really good, but then also the adaptation from screen to screen. You know, like you had to take the classic outfits from the three main characters and the monkey, I guess, and make it more modern. So you couldn't just they weren't just gonna have Jasmine be like in a belly dancing thing. So they had to take references from like the animated Jasmine to put into the live action. So it was like still blue and like flowy, but it was way more kind of modern, realistic kind of thing. And same with Aladdin, like he's not just shirtless. He actually has like kind of an outfit on.
Yeah.
So they did a great job, just period, with costume design, but then also adapting it to the live action.
Plus, the detail in the costume design was beautiful. Like Jasmine's pink dress that she wears.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, it was
Well,
so
and it was
beautiful.
like it had like dangly like metal things that were like
Yeah.
shimmer or something.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, like it makes me want to go out and buy a dress like that.
I mean, the
and wear
best
it.
one was definitely the blue though,
Oh yeah.
and it
Hands
showed
down.
off most when during that dance scene, like when she had it connected to her fingers, and so it was
Yeah.
like flowing. Like that's super cool. But that one looked great. Yeah.
I even feel like the genie had great costumes because the genie doesn't actually have a ton in the original one.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you even start with him, dressing Will Smith? And I thought they did a really good job with that for not having any references to go off of.
The hairpiece was a little weird though. I could have done without that.
I think they did it so that he didn't just look like he had, like, an afro or something.
Well, yeah, it's just
Or completely bald.
yeah, it just looked kind of weird.
I mean, there were angles where it looked more fake, like a glued on piece, than others. But I appreciated it being there.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Sultan?
He was fine. I mean, he definitely wasn't nearly as animated, no pun intended, as the last one. Like, the last one was, like, super goofy.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of missing. Like, besides, like, Jafar, I felt like I was really missing that goofy dad part.
Well, it was hard to go off of a story because the whole point is, like, Jafar's trying to take over because he doesn't believe that the current guy is doing a good job. And the whole point of the other one being goofy is that you can understand why he might feel that way. Like, oh, we have a goofy ruler, like he's not doing his job. It's easier to understand. But this guy just seemed kind of hardcore in that he would be doing a good job. So then it just led back into Jafar being a weak character of him just seeming whiny, because you had no basis to go off of. Like, oh yeah, they didn't show us a reason that the guy was not doing a good job. So that's why it just feels like Jafar was just being like whiny about being second place. You know, instead of actually having a real reason to want to rule. You know, villains always need like an actual good storyline to him, and he just didn't have one. He was just like, I don't like being number 2. I want to be number 1. Instead of like, I want to be number 1 because I'm trying to get to here and I don't believe that he's doing it. You know, they mentioned it where he's like, we should go invade that like place or whatever, but that was really it. There was no real basis as the current guy is not doing a good job, and that's that.
Yeah, it just seemed like some kind of stair-stepping kind of thing where he's like, oh, I used to be a thief like Aladdin, but I've just kind of settled in the dust here in number 2. And like you said, he just didn't have like a really good reason for wanting.
It just wasn't a good storyline for him.
Yeah.
It was just a weak character like all around, which just sucks because he's the main villain of the whole movie. You know.
Yeah.
But even in the original, it's kind of just, you know, the whole movie is definitely just about Aladdin and Genie. It's not even really a villain storyline. It's just like letting those two like characters play out, and that's why this one I felt got almost kind of sloppy, because like we said, Jasmine was just like so strong of a character and a performance, and then like
when he was on screen, it definitely felt like, okay, when's this movie gonna end?
Who?
Jafar.
Oh, I was just talking about Jasmine, so I didn't
Oh,
know.
sorry. No, and Jasmine's on the screen, like, you don't want it to cut. Like, I just wanted to see more.
Yeah.
But when Jafar was, like, on, especially, like, towards the end, when they completely changed, like, settings of everything that happens in the original one, which is fine, but I got really lost on what direction they were taking it.
Well, and I started getting really lost as to how like they don't understand that it's Aladdin, because like she like starts figuring it out on the magic carpet ride, but then he like explains that he's not. So then the whole time I'm thinking, wait, does she know he's actually Aladdin or not? But she does know who he is, but she believes he's still a prince, but he just arrived early in the town. Like that part got really confusing. It's like, is the spell on or off? You know, that part got really confusing for me.
Yeah.
Like, does she think he's still from the streets, or does she think he's still a prince? Because then in the end, they find out he's actually just not a prince. So then it's like, okay, then like, you know, the whole other confusing part seemed useless because now it's just over, you know.
She was supposed to think that he was the actual prince and he came early to just see,
Yeah,
you know.
it just got confusing. Because she was just like...
It was just worded really weird.
Yeah, it was strange. And because I thought they were trying to make her be really smart by figuring it out.
Yeah, I thought that would be so cool.
That he's not a prince. Because she did the like, oh, there's a boo. And he's like, no, it couldn't be. Like, and so it was like, oh, wow, she just totally played him by making him admit that he's not a prince. And then he just tricks her back into thinking he's a prince. I thought they were going to go... the route of she just totally figures it out but still likes him, and then they just both play it off that he's a prince or something, and that's why she ends up believing him when like he says Jafar's a bad guy kind of thing. That's what I thought they were going with. I thought it was going to be like both of them kind of like, you know, almost like wanting to be together because she just likes him as him and she disagrees with the law, which would tie into the end because she ends up getting rid of it. You know, it seems like they should have just done that then. Like, she realizes he's still just from the street. He's not a real prince, but she still really likes him. So let's, like, just keep pretending or something because everybody else believes he's a prince. And then in the end, she becomes salted and then just changes the law anyways. You know, it just seems like you could have just done it there, because then that would make her an even smarter character by figuring it out. Instead of just having him just trick her again and then adding 15-20 minutes to the runtime.
Yeah, I see like where you're coming from, and my like question that I keep pondering in my head is that it was so confusing for us who are like in our 20s to understand what was going on. Like, I wonder how like an 8-year-old was feeling.
Yeah, well, they probably didn't pay attention that close.
But I mean, okay, even like a 12-year-old, like, did they get confused? Did they like it? Were they thinking the same thing we were? Because this is supposed to be a movie for like all ages. And so I don't know if they put that in there for us or for the kids.
It definitely felt like slow. Like you're saying, like could they pay attention or whatever? Like I feel like the original was way faster, like paced, just in general.
And the songs were faster too, I swear.
This one felt really slow in terms of playing out. Like
Yeah.
it felt like there was more, politics to this one, like figuring out who's the ruler and who's telling the truth about stuff, instead of just like having a fun time kind of thing.
Yeah, it felt less like an adventure and more of a drama.
Yeah, sorta. But then with comedic timing of, or with comedic relief of Genie.
In a boo.
Yeah. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah. Like, I agree with you. I think the original was, like, more fast-paced, which I'm going to rewatch it just to make sure that I'm not going crazy on it. But I also feel like the songs, like, the way they were redone were way, way slower, too. And I think that also added to it feeling slow.
Yeah, the beat of Prince Ali just seemed like it was like on YouTube videos. You want to speed it up by like 1.5.
Yes.
It felt like you could just speed that up and have that be way more like peppy, you know. But it's like I said earlier, you could really tell the Will Smith like hip hop vibe is coming out because that's more their route. It's kind of more like, you know, more. It's got a beat to it instead of this fast paced like old Disney style, you know. But it just seemed kind of weird. It seemed like you could have kept at least like the chorus the same and then done your little remix afterwards, which he ends up doing. You know, there's a big weird kind of like hip hop remix in like 2 or 3 songs. Prince Ali was definitely one of them.
And then you never had a friend
yeah,
like
friend
me.
like me. But then I thought another one like towards the end.
Was there?
They were doing that weird hip hop dance too.
Oh, at the very end, like at the credits.
Yeah, I don't remember what song that was. I don't know. But he does like a little breakdown, like beatboxing type rap thing.
But the song was already so slow that it just felt like I could breathe in between every lyric.
Yeah. I mean, it was still fine. The songs were fine.
Yeah, no, like the way they took them in the direction with it being Will Smith, I think it was fine. I just wish it was a little bit faster because it was hard to sit through. And I don't see myself like turning that on Spotify to listen to because it's just so slow.
Yeah. But overall, I liked his charisma, like on screen. He did a really good job with selling that. I mean, the one that stands out the most was when they're sitting in the tent in the desert going over the rules of wishes and stuff. Because that's the best part. I guess selected scene, we can do that. Like, the one I can just keep thinking of, the selected scene is when we pick like a scene that we think is going to stick with us or is sticking with us. The one I just keep going back to that proves like Will Smith's charisma as a genie was when like Aladdin's saying like, "Can you make me a prince?" and then he just dashes over and he's like doing the like head on the hands thing, and he's kicking his feet. He's like, "Who is she? Like, tell me all about her." Because it's just like it's that relatable humor, like the high school like girl thing that I was talking about. It's that relatable humor where it's just like, you know, every guy knows that, where it's just, you know, okay, who is it? Like, tell me. The guys know that it's about a girl, like, you know, gossip, you know. But that was his charisma coming out, and he's just like, you know, kicking his feet and waving his head, and he's explaining the rules and stuff. Like that one proves his charisma to me as the genie, like the most out of any of them, because it really sells that he's being just like goofy with Aladdin instead of like taking it seriously.
Well, yeah, and it just kind of shows like the whole like two characters like dynamics, because when he first comes out of the lamp, he's like, "Who's your master? Who's the powerful one?" And then Aladdin's like, "No, I did it." And he's like, you little scrawny kid, you. And how the genie is just so used to, like, power-hungry, like, people, and Aladdin just wants to use the genie so that he can impress Jasmine. So it's just really funny, like you were saying, to see, like, the genie get to show more of his personality compared to what I imagine he would do with other people who rub the lamp.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did it for Jafar.
Yeah.
Like, he just kind of stood there, and he, like, was visually, like, upset by having to do that stuff. And that's the whole point, is that he becomes, like, good friends with Aladdin because he's just a guy that, like, found the lamp and rubbed it instead of, like...
someone seeking it.
Yeah, like he said, he's like, oh, it's always these guys, like, power hungry. Let me tell you, like, money's not going to get you anything. But they actually become, like, friends instead.
I also, another scene that really stands out is at the very end when Aladdin is wishing the genie free, and the genie, Will Smith, is just super excited to, like, give Aladdin this crazy wish.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That he can be with Jasmine.
Yeah, because he just figures out the whole thing. He's like, oh, well, you don't actually have to wish to be a prince. Just wish the law's gone. It's like, okay, you could have started there.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, he was, like, glad that he beat Jafar. So he was figuring out how to, like, get the kid his last wish.
Yeah. So it was, like, a really sweet ending.
Well, it was funny how he was like, wait, tell me to do something. And then he's like, for the first time, he's able to say, go get it yourself.
Yeah, that was funny. Because that doesn't happen in the original one, I don't think.
Yeah, I figured.
So that was, like, really funny, like, modern humor. That I thought was very fitting.
I don't know. I think the main takeaway is just, like, I don't believe they should be compared. Like, I ranted about it first thing, but, like, it's two different mediums. It's two different stories. It's new. It's different. Like, don't compare them, you know?
Yeah. And
like, yes, it's the same character, but, like, it's just a different actor's portrayal. It's different. It's going to be different, and they're both going to be equally as good. And like you said, kids nowadays are going to learn about this one rather than Robin Williams' Genie. So, like, get over it. Like, you're not special just because you grew up with one and not a different one, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, going off of that, I do think that this Aladdin take is going to, like, withstand time. Maybe not, like, as long time as, like, the 1992
Well, for sure the Jasmine is.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Naomi Scott's going to be known for Jasmine now.
Yeah. I think it does stand to be a strong movie. Like, I don't think it's one that's going to be forgotten. I mean, if you compare it to the original, to Cinderella when they first did that one remake, nobody talks about it.
I always forget that's even a thing.
Me too. I didn't even see it in theater. But I think Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin are definitely gonna hold
and
up.
Lion King.
Well, yeah, I'm so excited to see Lion King.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's fair for people to compare that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to compare it to when Milan comes out.
Well, and yeah, because nobody's gonna. That's what it is. It's people are so, like, what's the word? Not bandwagon, but just, like, so on top of being in love with like, it's so cool to be in love with Robin Williams. No one's gonna get upset about the voice of Simba being different. No one's gonna care. You know? No one's gonna care that Mulan looks a little different or the voice is different in the remake. Nobody cared when they changed the voices in Jungle Book for the live action. Like, it just because it's Aladdin and everyone, it's so cool to love Robin Williams. I love him too. Like, I'm not on a soapbox or anything like that.
No,
like,
we grew up watching all of his movies as kids.
But it's not okay just because it's this one. And I get he's dead and it's sad and he was a great treasure when he was here, but, you know, even with Lion King, if James Earl Jones died and they recasted the voice of Simba or Mufasa, like, yes, there would be some people being like, oh, like, I really miss the old one, but no one would be getting pissed off that they were changing the voice. And that's my main point, is, like, get over it. You know, it's different, it's new, you're not upset about anything else, don't be upset about this one. You know?
Yeah, see, I wasn't upset that he was going to, like, taint.
Yeah, because the other one's still there. Like, calm down. You can go watch the old one.
Like, the genie will always have, like, a special place in my heart, like the original one. My only, like, worry going into it was I was afraid like it was going to be like too hip-hoppy, too modern, and I really kind of wanted to still feel like that classic Disney love, and I do think they did that in a very tasteful way with still bringing in the new generation into it.
Yeah. It's just when I see like comments and tweets about like I'm boycott, like I've seen people saying they're boycotting watching it, like they refuse to go watch it and pay for it because it's not Robin Williams as Genie. It's like, what do you want from this deal? You know, they're remaking it. If you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. But you don't need to make it about Will Smith. You know.
Yeah.
If you want to watch the original with Robin Williams, just watch the original.
Yeah, and then we just watched an interview, with Will Smith somewhere where at first like he was very hesitant on taking on the role because he knew he's like everyone loves the Genie. So he definitely went into it knowing, you know, that everyone has like this high expectation of the Genie.
Yeah, I don't know. It just bothers me when people say that. It's just like, I refuse to watch it because they're changing it. Like, come on, get over it. You know, it's just a movie.
Yeah.
And it was fine. It was perfectly enjoyable, family fun. Like, it's not my type of movie, and I was just like, I was cruising. You know, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just there. It's not made for me. I'm not that audience. But it was still fine. Like, you know.
I definitely liked it more than Dumbo.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I mean...
Dumbo was kind of a mess.
Yeah. But I thought that this was way better than Dumbo. And that was just released not too long ago.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. It was fine. Like, it was enjoyable. I don't know if I'll rewatch it anytime soon, but it was fine.
Yeah, I definitely think it's what everyone's saying. It's a family-friendly movie. There's something in it for everyone to...
I'd rewatch it for Naomi Scott, but...
Of course you would. Yeah, it was a fun movie. I liked it. I'll probably watch it again.
Yeah, once it comes out on like Disney Plus.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for that.
Well, if I didn't alienate all of you guys by ranting about that, and you're actually still here, and you want to let us know what you thought about Aladdin, you can let me know at themidnightshowingpod@gmail.com. Twitter is at showingmidnight. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube is all the same at the Midnight Showing. So let me know.
See you on the next Disney one.
Yeah, so the next one is Lion King in July. Right? And then we don't know where they're going from there in terms of remakes.
Well, I know Mulan's coming up, but I don't know what the release date is.
I think it's like 2020 or something.
Yeah, it's quite a distance away.
But yeah, you'll be back for Lion King for sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. Bye.
Bye.